Hey guys, welcome back to Family Unmuted, Season 3, Episode 1, talking about 2023 and how we're different.
How are we different?
We definitely are different from the beginning, just even a year ago. I think what we do sometimes is we underestimate how long a year is.
We were just talking about how long 45 days is.
Yeah, that's true.
Or just 30 days. Like, you don't really stop and think about the impact of time.
Yeah.
And I think that could be a good thing and a bad thing. Because for me, it ends up being a blessing and a curse. You think you have a lot, and then you end up wasting some of it. Here you are. So, how are we different?
Well, I think you bring up a good point, and we're looking at time differently. I think even carving out an hour to do something that's really important to us, even though it may not be enough time allotted, you can still make a lot of progress in an hour. And a day is just, there's so much you can do in one day that I think we underestimate that. So I think realizing the importance of time, how to be more efficient with our time, respecting time, and I know you've taught me this, is living more in the present than trying to live, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Because what you do today is going to affect that, and sometimes we lose that connection, or at least I do. So how we're different, I look at time a lot differently now.
How were you looking at it before?
Well, I was, just getting in the real estate business. I was always the young kid. And I always thought that, I always have time for that. I have time for that. Well, at the end of this month, I turned 45. So it's starting to set in that I'm not the young kid anymore. Even though I feel 18 in my brain.
Well, it's an interesting place. You like to talk about tweeners and being like in-betweeners. And I feel like when we talk to people who are older than us, they still say we're young. And then when we talk to young people, everybody says we're old.
Yeah.
So we're in that weird...
Do you feel like you're old?
No.
I don't... No.
No?
No.
But you just think you are.
Well, I'm told I am. by you guys. I mean, I'm not saying you specifically. I'm just saying your generation.
But it's nobody does that anymore. That's that makes us feel old. I don't feel like I'm old. Like, in my mind, we talk about this all the time. I still feel like I'm 18. We're silly and enjoy life and all the things. My body, however, is telling me that I'm older.
Yeah.
I'm oldish, and it's taking more maintenance and more care to get me. Like, I can't just get up and go anymore, or just go to bed and fall asleep. So that aspect of it, I think, and then just seeing all of you guys, like, you want to talk about having time in your face and how quickly and what a thief time can be. When you look at your kids, that's when it gets me. I mean, Aurora's going to be 25. How? And we're just looking at, even with Savannah, she's 8 months. She's pulling herself up. She's crawling. That happened overnight. So those are the things that, it's not that I feel old. I am just painfully aware of how quickly time passes and how much more you can do with it. I think that's the thing for me when you talk about time. I could be using it so much better.
If you had to rate yourself on your time management, what would you give yourself?
It depends, because again, I like to chunk my pieces of my life into different buckets that all funnel into one thing. I think as far as family time goes, I'd give myself an 8 out of 10. Like, when I decide we're going to do something, we do it, and that's all it is. It's family. There's no distractions, nothing. So when I commit to family time, which everybody knows is my absolute major priority, so there's really no give for me on that. Everything else, I'd probably give myself a 4 or 5. Like I get distracted easily.
Mm-hmm.
And to your point, I feel like I need to spend 8 hours on something than one solid good hour on a couple different things. And that's the mind shift I'm trying to make now.
Yeah, I guess if I were to grade myself on time management or time efficiency, yeah, maybe a C or maybe a 5 out of 10. I think I've always struggled with that. But when I put my mind to it, I can get stuff done fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't really take that power.
It doesn't take a lot of time for me to get stuff done, just because I think the muscle memory's there, and it's just like, and the older that I get, the less fluff there is. There's like no, like I just get to the point.
Yeah.
And it's something, the result's going to happen or it's not.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just move on with it.
Well, that's a bit a mind shift with age too, as I used to look at deadlines as deadlines gave me anxiety and timelines gave me stress, and it would make me avoid what it was I needed to do. But I've embraced a different feeling to those timelines. Timers help me in my mind. I'm like, okay, I'm going to clean for an hour, and whatever I get done in that hour, I get done in that hour. And there's a certain feeling of accomplishment, even though you didn't finish everything that maybe you had hoped to. You finish that solid hour. It's like a workout. You finish the solid hour, and then that just snowballs into other things throughout the day. And so I'm learning to love shorter deadlines and timelines for things. I find that it's making me a lot more productive.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
What about time for you? What does time look like for you?
I don't know. It's weird right now, because like a year ago we were pregnant. Now we have an 8-month-old, and it's just an interesting thing because we were in our apartment, we were preparing all this stuff, and now she's here. She's about to turn 1 in a couple months. I felt like it flew by, and I felt that, but at the same time, we got a lot done during that. Like last podcast, we were talking about Mexico. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Trin moving, talking about Savannah being bored, our wedding. Just an interesting thing because you feel like it's taking forever. Then you look back, you're like, oh wait, it hasn't really. It doesn't feel like that. Like when she was 2 months old, it felt like forever. Now it's 8 months, and it's like, oh, where did time go?
Yeah.
Well, time's been a big conversation piece in a lot of different areas. So I feel like it's, airy-fairy. It's a message out there that I need to be listening to. But we've gone several places. Like even a couple weeks ago at church, they were talking about with New Year's and time and just the measurement of time and what you are actually doing every time you date a document or whatever. You're acknowledging, 2024 years have passed, and so time is everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I just don't think that we respect it enough, and I think that as you age you just respect it more and more for obvious reasons.
What do you mean by respecting time?
I think at the end of the day, life is time spent on the things that are most important to you. It's the only currency that you can't recreate or that you can't make more of. And so for me, that's powerful. Like when I say time is a thief, it can take away so much so quickly. Mm-hmm. I just don't think we think about the power of time and how it impacts our life every second, every minute, every year.
Yeah, we're all on a timer.
Right. And respecting the fact that what gets me is the whole, I don't know, we've been talking for 10 minutes. We'll never get those back. You can never, ever get it back. And so, again, having more respect for it to say, what am I spending this on? What am I filling my time with? Mm-hmm. When my time is done, have I wasted it or have I used it? And that's what I mean by respecting it. It's a gift that can be gone at any time, and I think we don't respect it enough.
Yeah, and coming back from that NLA Live conference, I think we all came back with the takeaway of your hourly rate and your most productive hours. How much is that reflecting on your income or how much energy you bring? I think that all resonated with us, and I think that's like one thing that I'm trying to shift towards in 2024 is like, what is our hourly rate? Is my time best used doing this to achieve the goals that I want?
And it doesn't necessarily have to be financial. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm in a coaching group right now with some accountability pieces in it, and we talk a lot about your ROI, and I think that everybody ROI, return on investment, you think immediately money or business, whatever that may be, but you need to be looking at an ROI on your time too. If I put this time into it, am I going to get more out of it? And if you're going to get less, then you need to really talk to yourself about, is it worth doing? So again, ROI on your time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I think some of the things what's interesting about ROI is some of the best things that make you feel really good is giving your time away for free.
Mm-hmm.
And your hourly rate might go down, but your fulfillment and your overall just like excitement about life may go up.
So what would you, instead of calling it hourly rate, what would you reframe it as?
Well, I think you just have to separate it. I think you have to say, all right, from a business point of view, I have to make X amount of dollars per hour in order for the business to function properly and employ people and service your clients the way they need to be serviced. And I think that's something totally different than, all right, I'm looking at my personal life and time with my family and time with things that are important to me. That's all stuff that's not going to be paid in a currency or in a dollar amount, but it's going to be paid in, love and family and all the
Personal
good
growth.
personal things that really matter to you. So, which is the reason why you're creating this business in order to do those things.
Well, that's why I liked the word ROI, but it's not a financial, because you have to look at time. You have to look at time as an investment. Whatever it is you're going to do. I am investing time into whatever, my workout, into my spirituality, into my relationships, whatever it is. And you have an infinite amount of time. So is that hour or that time that you're allotting going to achieve the most that it can for you, whatever it is? If it's fulfillment, and if it's charity, and that giving 1 hour at this certain volunteering or whatever is going to put you on cloud 9 for a week, that's a good ROI. That's a good investment of your time. So again, like you said, it doesn't translate to $20 an hour or $100 an hour or whatever it might be. It's, what is that investment going to do for you?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what you said, and it kind of triggered something. I guess from a religious point of view, how long are we alive versus the amount of time that we're dead? It's
a very small amount.
Small amount. So where should your investment in time be at? So everybody says, live your life to the fullest. You only get one life. Do what you want to do. All those things. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, I think we'll be judged on that, and I think what you do here is going to translate to what you do after you die. And I think for me personally, I need to invest more into what my life looks like after death, more, and pay more attention to that, because I'm going to be dead a lot longer than I am going to be alive. I mean, this is just a drop in the bucket compared to eternity. So I just need to have that perspective in it too. when I'm making decisions on my life.
Why do you think people say, like, you only have one life, live to the fullest, do all this stuff?
Well, I just think that most people don't believe that there's a life after death. So when you think everything ends when your life ends, then yeah, I'd probably have that perspective too.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that, so I have a different...
When you were
Different
younger,
belief.
did you?
I felt like I've always had that belief.
Mm.
Like there's an eternity after.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of people use those sayings, you only live once, those kind of things. I think, yes, you do flirt with that line of living of this and not the after. But I think that it speaks to kind of what I was saying earlier. Like, so many, you waste it. You just waste time. And
Well, for the most part, we go to sleep, we wake up, the sun comes out.
you take it for
Right.
granted.
Yeah.
And I think you
Yeah.
you live a lot of your life in a space of taking things for granted. I know I do. It's something that I try to work on every day, but you take it for granted that you'll have tomorrow, or I can do this then, or maybe in that time. So yes, having goals and dreams and things to shoot for, that's important. It is important. But you got to make sure that those views or those visions are really what you want. I think that especially when you are younger like you, and I tell you guys this all the time, you spend a lot of your 20s trying to become all these people that you see. Your 20s are like trying to figure out who you are, right? Like, am I this person? Am I that person? Who am I trying to make happy? It's a lot of people pleasing. It's a lot of facades. It's a lot of things just because you're not sure where you fit into this world. And then you get to your 30s and you're like, okay, I kind of figured out who I am. Now I got to build that. How do I do it? And you spend a lot of your 30s just building your career or finding that spot where you want to move on. And then you hit your 40s and you're like, none of that mattered. Because you realize, like,
There's only a few things that are really important.
Yeah. Like, you hit your 40s and I don't know what it was. I was just like, I don't care what people think about me anymore. I don't care if that person's going to be upset because I said no. I don't, because you just become clear.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of people spend a lot of time, especially, we talked about this ad nauseum. But with social media and everything, you fall into this, oh, I can do that. That person's happy. That'll make me happy. I'm going to do this. And then 5 years in, you're like, this doesn't make me happy. And I just wasted 5 years. So I think that speaks to why people are like, you only live once. I think the purpose is you do only live once, so you better live it right. This is not a dress rehearsal. This is it.
Mm-hmm.
So the sooner you can figure this stuff out, the better off you'll be. So.
Yeah, I think when you're young, you just don't have enough life experience. Honestly, you probably haven't lost enough close people to you, and that that hits me because 2023 I lost a really good friend, and he passed away when my age. I mean, geez. And when you think about that, it's like stuff, I guess, the regret sits in, and you really just try to reanalyze your life. And no amount of money that I made or we've made could bring him back, or I can go watch a football game with them, or any of that. So I think when you have enough people that are important to you and close to you and they pass away, it starts to hit you a little bit different. So Gosh, I didn't think we'd go here today.
Well,
But
I think just loss in general is hard, and
Just taking things for granted.
you take things for
Yeah.
granted,
I
and,
mean,
and
you-
like Dad,
and you
and
can-
Dad
that doesn't even do it for, like, just saying that doesn't even do that justice. Like, it doesn't even mean, like, it's so much bigger than that. Like,
Well, and I think that's the thing about grief, and I think that people try to put a timeline or an expectation on grief, and we've talked about this, and I get teased a lot, but there are just some things that like hit you like a ton of bricks, and it will just bring you to your knees in ways that you didn't expect it. And so for me, I'm sad, but I'm also so grateful that I had a love of somebody or a connection with somebody that would hurt that bad, because sometimes people don't even have those connections in their lives, and they don't miss people, or they won't be missed, or whatever. So that piece of it is a gift. And then I have found, as I get older and you do lose people, that it motivates me so much more to almost live for them. They don't have that gift anymore, and we do. So shame on us for not making the most out of it and doing the things. And as awful as that loss has been, we have clinged to some of our closest friends. We have, I think that he shed some light on some things for us. And so for that, I'm incredibly grateful to him, because I don't know if we would have seen things that way.
it's true.
So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
You're talking about regret. Do you think spending your time in other things sort of creates that regret? Or
Well, it's the first thing Dad said when we got the phone call.
mm-hmm.
That was the very first thing you said. He listed about 4 regrets that he had. And I think we always talk about living a life with no regrets, but I think, again, that's just something you say. You have to start,
Do you ever think about it?
you
Yeah.
have to start thinking of, like, what does a life with no regrets really mean? And are you truly doing the things on a daily basis to make that happen?
I think we got to start asking ourselves, would we regret not doing this, or would we regret doing this?
Right, it goes
You
back
know.
to kind of that ROI, like, if I don't do this, what happens? If I do
Yeah.
this, what happens? And what's better?
I think we just think of like, oh, we'll have more energy, or like, oh, I don't want to do this because I'm tired. But if you do it, then what opportunities open the door?
Well, and it
For the
speaks
future.
it speaks to, you think you have time.
Yeah.
That's the other thing, when you acknowledge, oh, well, I probably should have done this, this, and this, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to make it right. And then that's taken away.
Mm-hmm.
That's a blow to the gut.
Yeah.
So again, I'm grateful for the gift of understanding now. So like in my relationships, my closest relationships, and we were just having a conversation. We had dinner with friends a couple weeks ago, and she was talking to me about, she just felt like she needed her circle to get smaller. And it's not a knock on any relationship. It's just when you have such respect for time and you understand what's most important to you, that is where you choose to spend your time. And unfortunately, it just doesn't include thousands and thousands of people. It includes a really, really small group. And I think you spend so much time trying to build this giant network and have all these people and all these friends and everything else. But to have true relationships, we can count them on one hand.
Meaningful
True,
relationship.
meaningful relationships we can count on one hand, I think. And so when we talk about 2023 and how we've changed, I'd like to, my goal every year is to just grow. I feel like there's been growth in some really painful ways. I mean, I think our family as a unit went through some pain this year with each other. we worked through it like we always do. So in my New Year's post, I posted it was kind of a roller coaster, and it was because when you think about our 2023, I'm like, we had some really high highs and some really low lows. And it was just kind of like this all in between. So I won't say it's a bad year, because I don't think anybody, I don't want to say any year is ever bad. But it was not at the top of my list for favorite things, which in January 2023, seeing what we had planned, I totally thought it was going to be, this is the year. This is going to be an amazing year. And it was rough.
Yeah.
Business-wise, it was rough. There were some major adjustments that we had to make, and we saw people falling off all over the place, and that's hard to not let that distract you and be like, oh my gosh, if they're not making it, are we gonna make it? And you're just in my head, I have this little vision right now of like me and you holding on, like we're gonna be okay. So 2023 was challenging, and I'm finding that I spend a lot of time on social media, and I'm just seeing this over and over of people who are like, when's it gonna get better? Because it has felt like 2020 came, and then everybody's like, okay, now, and every year it's just been like over and over challenges. And so for me, my change is to not be a part of that narrative and try to keep that at bay and not say, oh, it's going to be another bad year. Because that's kind of where the conversations have gone.
I think we're just wiser. Just the bottom line, we're wiser. I had my first coaching call on Friday, and the whole
Business coach,
yeah. For the premise of the call was, we need to slow down to speed up, and we slowed down in that we're just chunking it out and really thinking about some things, and
quality over quantity.
Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah. We talk about our circles. It doesn't have to be that big, but meaningful relationships, those things are important to us, and doing business with the people we enjoy doing business with. Life's too short.
Yeah, I think
to do business with folks we either just don't connect with, or it's more short term, it's more transactional, and that's just not us. We do business with our friends and who turn into family, and we don't have the bandwidth to do business with everybody. So
nor should we. I think that's a mistake that I can only speak to our industry because that's what we're in, but I think too many times real estate agents or even mortgage brokers try to be everything to everybody. I have this for you, and I have this for you, and I have this for you, and I can be this for you. And then either you do a horrible job with all of them, or you are miserable and you want to quit. We are not meant to serve everybody. That is why there are so many humans on the earth. We're all supposed to serve. There's a limit onto how many people we can serve and how many lives we can impact. And I don't pretend that I have some magic skill that I can impact everybody. I know I can. So having that realization of there are certain people that have been picked for me to serve and help to the absolute best of my ability, and not trying to spread myself so thin, trying to touch hundreds of thousands of people. It's just not meant to be that way. So that's been huge for me and for us in our business, because we were like, I don't care who you are, I'm going to meet you there, and I'm going to go, and this person makes me feel like this, but it's okay because they still need to do this or whatever. And then you just go to bed just every night, because it's just the way it is. You don't connect with everybody.
Yeah.
And you need to just learn to be okay with that. It's hard, but you got to learn.
Yeah.
And the clearer you are with who you are, the easier that becomes.
So what are your goals for 2024? We've been talking about this for 2 weeks, guys. No.
I know. I think so much change happened in 2023 that I almost feel like I need a year to breathe. We traveled a ton. We had huge things happen in our lives personally. Our business changed dramatically. We made some big commitments personally for personal growth. As far as implementing things, you got a coach. I'm in coaching. So I feel like I personally need to take the first quarter of 2024 to settle in and slow down to speed up. Really, we talked about going to things and then you just, oh, that was fun and that was great, and not implementing. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things that I need to implement more of in my life. So my goals are more task driven, I think, this year than overall big lofty goal. Like if I'm doing this every day, I can see what my life's going to look like doing those things every day. So that's my goal, to do those things every day.
Consistency.
Yeah, to do those things every day.
I just want to focus on a few things. It's more physical, just making sure that I'm working out properly, getting exercise. That really helps the stress level. That's really helped my sleep. I'm sleeping better, feeling better. Unfortunately, I'm not drinking coffee anymore, although I did have a cup this morning. But
whoa,
yeah, that's been a cup in several weeks. It was like, okay, like before I like craved the caffeine, I had to have it, 2 or 3 times a day. Don't need that anymore. I've kind of substituted that with tea. So I feel more energetic. And that helps me with my focus. I think the caffeine was really like fogging me up. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't focus on the things that I needed to get done. Now I feel like I'm a little bit better. It's like if something needs to get done, then it's like let's just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you have energy behind it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the things that you put into your body affect your performance. And when I was younger, I could probably get away with that. You know.
Well, we talked about that. Like when we're on the run or something, and we just don't have time, and we're starving, and we both will look at each other and be like, we're going to pay for this. Yeah. We are going to feel horrible
McDonald's
later. Like we are going to feel horrible later.
Taco Bell.
And it never fails. You do. Yeah. It just almost as you're eating it, you feel yourself just like, ugh, this does not feel good.
Oh, yesterday I sent you that text and I was like, all right, I'm going to go to Arby's.
Oh gosh.
I hadn't eaten all day. I was on my way to ref some games up north.
Oh, that's even worse.
I only had 15 minutes, and Arby's was on the way. So all those 4 things made a lot of sense to me. But I passed.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You starved.
I had a granola bar from however old that was in my little suitcase thing. I had some... I want to say nuts and berries, but nuts and fruits or something like that.
Why does that sound so
I had some crackers and peanut butter. So,
good for you.
And I got through my reffing 3 games, and I felt so awesome. I felt less jiggly.
But you bring up a good point. That triggers
the jiggle measurement up and down the court. It's like...
Oh my gosh. That triggered something for me, not the jiggling part, but before that, it triggered something for me in that I feel like we've had some growth, at least for me personally. I've had some growth because I have discovered in 2023 some thresholds. And we talk a lot about, oh, what hasn't gotten bad enough yet? Like, how bad does it have to get for you to make some changes, for you to make some decisions? And I discovered some pretty big thresholds in lots of areas of my life in 2023, which I think will serve me much better going forward. Unfortunately, some of those thresholds have been in relationships. Some of them have been with just food in general. Mm-hmm. I am so tired of feeling this way that, again, I can't eat this. It is definitely not worth it on any level for me. So thresholds are a big deal. So thresholds for me equal breakthroughs. And I realized that I'm pretty tolerable for a lot of things. And so when I kind of hit those this year, I was like, oh, so this is it. Mm-hmm. So this is the limit. Mm. So I hit my limit on a few things in 23, which I think is good. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's very freeing.
Food's a big problem. Like what we put in our bodies, and if you want to be a high performer, you can't eat crap.
When I think you think about it as athletes, right? You
have
a high-performing body, you immediately think of athletes. But it's all about energy and what you have to give to whatever it is you're doing. And a bad meal will stay with me for like 2 or 3 days, and it'll affect my mindset. It'll affect my energy. It affects everything.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're like executive athletes, if you think of it that way. Like there are things that we need to get done in a high stress environment, and there's real consequences if those things don't happen. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you need to be at your peak performance mentally. You need to be sharp mentally, physically. You're going to have long days, and you need to be prepared for that. Mm-hmm. Or what are your clients paying you to do? So what you're putting in your body actually matters, and you need to be focused on that. You need to be structured on that. Mm-hmm. You need to have meals prepared so that you're not running to Arby's or McDonald's or whatever it is when you have that weak moment when you're under a lot of stress. Mm-hmm. So building those systems or structures and putting those in place, or I think that's probably one of my goals for this year, is just to do that. Systems and just getting prepared. Mm-hmm. Because I've lived this way. I've lived the other way for the last 25 years, and I'm not satisfied with the result.
Yeah.
So
time to do something different.
Yeah, my threshold was 25 years.
Apparently.
Yeah, which is very sad. I mean, most people are like, "Oh, I tried that for a year; it didn't work out." I'm gonna make changes.
Dad needs to
no,
make
I did that 25 times.
He needs to make sure that this is not the way.
Right. So
probably be another year.
Yeah, let's give it another year. Yeah,
just for good measure.
Just want to make sure.
What about you? You were at you're hitting a trajectory here in your life. Not that we're not, but it's just different. So how do you feel you changed in 23, and what are you most excited for going forward?
I got a lot of things thrown at me 2023. Getting my real estate license, starting a family, figuring out what I value. And I think...
So these are all things you chose to do, right?
As far as...
all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, you chose to do those things.
Yeah.
Right?
But they're just thrown at me in all in 1 year.
Unexpected way.
In a quicker timeline than I anticipated. I think going into 2024 is figuring out how I can structure everything in a better way. Because I think 2023 I was just, all right, let's get through it. Now I just want to be, all right, how can we strive in this? How can we make it better? Changing that survival to thriving, is a big goal for 2024 for all areas. I think, like you said, food wise, like the little details that we do every day, I think affect me the most.
You are a creature of habit.
I am.
And you need structure.
So I should not be in real estate.
On the contrary, it can be done.
But I feel like if I make it click, I feel like I can make it work in a way that we all enjoy. Because that's another thing. I was pretty selfish with all. I feel like 2023 I was a little selfish. I didn't want to change. I didn't want to, wake up with the kid, Chrisanne. And it just made me realize that. And so now I want to put that in the past and try to thrive,
Yeah, when you live for others, that's those are life-changing things.
There's a different energy behind it. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for in 2024. Structure and growth. Again.
Yeah. Well, I think that's another threshold for you. Like, sounds like you realize, like, just living just for me and my needs is not enough. Like, it's not doing it for me. It's not fulfilling. And you would think it would be to be self-serving and have everything that you want or need.
Yeah.
But it's so funny how we are made to serve others.
Yeah.
Just how it works.
Yeah, feels pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you do it. When you think about doing it, you're like, but when you actually do it, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've talked about this before. I wake up every day thinking about who am I going to serve today? How am I going to serve? Whether it's dad or you guys or the littles, clients always, strangers, friends, whatever it might be. Just who am I going to serve today? I think that should be a goal for everybody to just how many people and who can you serve?
Well,
on a
I think
daily basis.
I think one thing that like really I've been thinking about a lot was me and Noah, our Christmas gifts. I think that was a big thing because we're like, oh, we can afford getting gifts for people this year.
You guys were so cute and so happy. Like, you guys were it was so funny. You guys showed up to Christmas Eve and they were like, wait, guys, my presents. And you guys were so excited handing them out and so excited to see you guys give each other things. And you guys really put thought into all the gifts for your sisters and cousins. And it was a really awesome thing to see. And we talked about that. And we were like, that moment for you guys was so awesome. That was not lost on us. Like we were as excited as you guys were. That was a really cool thing to see because you guys both have worked hard and gone through some things. And for you guys, for us to see you guys, because being honest, when we would think of Buddy and Noah, that's really the last thing that we would have thought that the two of you would have done. Like, I don't mean that as an insult. It's just you guys were in a different place. So yeah, if you asked anybody about Buddy and Noah, they would have been like, huh? So the fact that you guys have grown and have become men through your work and through your family and all these things, that was a pretty cool thing to see this year.
It feels good though.
Yeah, it felt great.
Yeah.
Too bad Noah can't use my present now.
Next year.
Towards ACL.
Yeah. Maybe you can use it for sledding.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what I'm looking for 2024. And I think I was listening to this podcast by Michael Burnoff. He said to keep yourself from burning out, just commit to 2 days. So like I'm just gonna commit these 2 days to going to the gym. He's like, there's no problem with recommitting, but commit yourself to a smaller chunk and then keep refreshing it.
Well, I think that's why people fail. It goes back to that book we talked about.
He's like, because his example was, I'm going to hit the gym every day for a whole year.
Right.
He's like, people get to January and they're done.
Yeah.
So he's like, just shorten it. And, you don't feel as guilty if you don't recommit, Maybe you take a day off and then you recommit again. Then you feel better, and it starts, creating a habit. And that was also eye-opening to me.
The funny thing is growth happens in very small increments, and it's still considered growth.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about atomic habits a little bit, but that's the basis of atomic habits, like just getting 1% better every day. So for me, and when you had that fitness coach, when Columbo was coaching with you, he would literally be like, if you just drove to the gym and just walked in and walked right back out, that's still a win. Because you're training yourself to get
so
in
that's
the
the hardest
car,
part.
go
Just
to
get
the
there.
thing. You know what I mean?
Just get
It's like,
there.
I don't care if you don't work out and you walk right back out. You got there. The next time, you'll probably stay. And then the next time, so yeah, everybody tries to, eat the elephant in one bite.
Yeah.
You just can't.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
embracing and finding, sorry,
You okay?
No.
I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
I won't.
Okay.
I just won't listen to you for the next 2 minutes.
Okay. Well, you're pretty good at that. So, just embracing the tiny steps, tiny activities, tiny steps.
Yeah, if I have to sum up 2024 in one word,
24 or 23?
24. Like
Oh.
when I
What you
think
wanted.
about what
Oh, okay.
2024 means to me,
Okay.
it's progress. Just focus on progress.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the words.
Yeah.
Picking a word.
Picking one word.
My word this year is balance.
Yeah. Progress for me. What do you think yours is?
Structure.
Structure.
Mm-hmm.
We encourage you all to pick a word
Pick a word
Commit
for
to it.
2024.
Comment.
and give yourself grace every day. If you do one new thing or one thing different or remove just one thing every single day, your life will be so different at the end of 24.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be addition by subtraction.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Cool.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next
Bye.
time.